Minneapolis on Sunday, triggering 2 nights of protests. Kim Potter says she grabbed her gun instead of her taser during the arrest of the 20-year-old. It's 2 minutes past 9.
News Talk weather.
Dry tonight with clear spells, some mist or fog overnight. Lowest temperatures of -1 to +2 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, the Champions League. We love it as much as Neymar loves himself. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then. What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
Well, the goal of the evening thus far has not happened in the Champions League. Instead, Graham Burke on 39 minutes has scored from the halfway line. A brilliant goal from the halfway line for Shamrock Rovers. They're 2-0 up against Derry City this evening. In the Champions League, still no goals between Chelsea and Porto. Second half's just getting underway in these games. Still no goals between Chelsea and Porto. Meanwhile, PSG, I was saying just before the ad break there, had a 20-25 minute spell where they were sucker punching Bayern on the break. They hit the upright, they hit the crossbar, they had lots of near misses, some saves, and then shock horror, Bayern go and score just before half-time. Choupo-Moting, who's enjoying life at the moment, bundled in a header. And so suddenly Bayern, if they can repeat the second half, i.e. a 1-0, then they'll go through 2-0. That's where we are. Now, PSG really do look like they're going to score a goal, but stranger things obviously have happened in the Champions League, and no doubt nerves will come into it. That's where we are. PSG 0, Bayern 1, Chelsea 0, Porto 0. Very happy to say it's been a while since we checked in with this man. Steven Reid is with us. Hello.
Joe, how you doing?
Very well, very well. Coach with Scotland under Steve Clarke since May of 19. As of October, first team coach at Nottingham Forest under Chris Hughton. And most depressingly, as of last month, 40 years old. The big 4-0.
That's a welcome, Joe. Thanks for that one.
How did that feel? Big 4-0. Ouch.
Yeah, it was a big moment. It was a big moment. The missus was 40 around about the same time, and quite a while ago we had a few plans this year. Obviously, for everyone, it's been a bit of a disaster this whole period. But yeah, it's a big milestone. But hopefully, looking forward to the next one in a few years' time. But managed to get back, see the family for a day, but then it was obviously straight back to it, especially in that.
40th next year, I think that's acceptable. I remembered that we had spoken sometime last year around when all of this was kicking off, and I just went back earlier on to have a check and a look back, and it was April 1st, 2020 was when we spoke last year, and it's funny looking back at us. We were like, oh, who knows what'll happen, and we'll get back to normal soon enough, and here we are a year later.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we spoke at the time as well about next stages of the coaching journey as well, and at that point it was enjoying the role with Scotland, not in any mad rush to get back into the club side of coaching, but it's been such a strange year, and maybe in a way it maybe helped me refocus a little bit and get back to it and give me that sort of push back into club football. The call came from Chris a little bit out the blue. We've obviously not worked together at club level before, but just had a really good feeling, a gut instinct that this would be a good move, another good learning experience from a top manager that's worked at the top level, a manager that I've respected and admired for a long time, and really enjoying it so far. Although it's had its ups and its downs in the results so far, but it has been good to get back, at the coalface of club football. But it's that balancing out with the international side as well, which is, as you know, been a massive success.
Yeah,
obviously in qualifying for the Euros.
Yeah, an amazing summer ahead. What you said last April was that you were really enjoying the balance of international football and family life. So, I mean, you either got bored or you need the cash. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, I'm actually back now. I've actually got we got a day off tomorrow, so I've driven back. I've actually got a beer next to the laptop, so managing to try and relax a little bit tonight. But it has been full on. You go from, and I have gone from one extreme to the other. Obviously, took this role in October with Chris, straight after the October internationals. Then it was straight back to the club. Then it was obviously the final of the playoff in Serbia in November, which was amazing. Then it was back to the club. But a couple of weeks ago was crazy in the 3 games international. So we played Faroes on the Wednesday, drove straight to Nottingham. So was back at 2 a.m. in training ground for 7:30, training as usual, and then travelled down to Cardiff for the game on Friday. So we obviously played Wednesday, then Friday and Monday. So it has been really, really full on. But again, it's been really enjoyable to be at a fantastic club. You can just smell the history, around the club. Obviously, Brian Clough's the main name that springs to mind, and the images that you see all around the club. But it's been up and down. It was a sticky start when we first went in, but then we had a great run, then a couple of little dips here and there. But at the moment, we seem to be in a pretty decent place, and hopefully have a decent finish to the season before. Obviously, it'll be then meeting up with Scotland again. 15th
in the table, I checked.
It's obviously not a position that we wanted to be in when we went in at the start, but it's been mixed results.
And it must be hard to sense if the fans are happy or not. I mean, like, they're not there, so I mean, would they be booing you, or would they be happy enough, or what's the expectancy like? Because I know Nottingham Forest were bottom when you and Chris went in October.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I'm not. And what I do really when I'm involved in full-time football is try and stay off social media as much as possible. Obviously, there's been so much, especially in the last 12 months, in terms of social media and all the things that the companies can do to try and stop the abuse and the negativity around it. So when I'm working and back in full-time, I sort of try and stay off it as much as possible. But it's hard to gauge. I think progress has been steady. Obviously, it's going to be a big summer ahead. Hopefully a decent end to the season, and then hopefully be challenging next season would be the aim. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be amazing when the fans come back. I've played there as a opposition player. I know the atmosphere, what it can bring to a performance, especially at the City ground. So really looking forward to the fans coming back and hopefully pushing a lot higher up the table than we are at the minute.
And have your family moved to Nottingham with you, or are they still down? I think it's Surrey, isn't it?
Yeah, we stayed put. Okay. We had a big move about 4 years ago back to London after sort of 15 years away, and the kids being born and brought up in Manchester. So we had the big move then, and the precariousness of being in a coaching role or management role is that you just never know. It's a bad run of form or whatever it might be. And I think you find, especially all the coaches and managers that I know, usually the family are, you kind of get your base where the family is settled, where the family are happy, and you work around that. It's not, contracts are not as, they're not like they are when you're a player. You sign a 3 or 4 year deal and you can kind of plan around that. It's a bit precarious when you're on the coaching side of things. So
not least in the Championship.
Yeah, well, I think the average tenure is around about 12 months. Obviously, we all hope that we're going to be there a lot longer than that. But I think it's important that most importantly, that the kids are settled and happy where they are. And it has been tough, though. I'm not going to lie.
I would say so. I saw you do a roundtable chat with your fellow Scottish coaches. We'll get on to them in a few minutes. But because I thought I had misheard you, but now actually listening to you, you're not exaggerating. Because in that chat, you said you had spent one night at home in 5 weeks, and I just thought I had misinterpreted that. So you obviously meant one night at home with your family in 5 weeks, otherwise away for the other 34 days.
Yeah, it was an incredible spell of the internationals, of the fixture list in the Championship, because when it is a midweek game, a Saturday, Tuesday, which I think it was for around about 3 weeks. It's recovery days, the days of every week being a sort of Sunday, Wednesday off regardless have gone. It's sort of recovery days. You're back in, the players that didn't play, have got a training session the next morning. It was a ridiculous sort of spell where it was literally one night at home in that 4 or 5 week period. And at the moment, it's probably home once a week at the moment. And then obviously on top of that, the international trips, which have been a little bit longer with the 3 games, which it's been in the last few camps, which means another couple of weeks away. But do you know what? That's the benefit of actually having that break that I had, that we spoke about, which I've been on and spoken and talked about in taking that break away from football, was that quality time that I had then, that sort of 18-month period where it was the international gig alone.
Yeah.
So I had plenty of time with the kids. We did some nice things. I was at every sort of event, every football match. So, you know, at times you've got to make the sacrifices of getting back in, and the level and the club was just too good an opportunity to turn down. There'd been 1 or 2 other sort of offers that were made, but with this one, I just had a real good, feeling about it. The gut instinct was to go for it. Within a couple of minutes of having that chat with Chris, I just knew it felt right.
He always seems like such a decent man, and he's clearly a very, very shrewd, good football manager who really knows his craft. You know, probably a little bit underrated in many ways, Chris Hughton, so I can see those ingredients. Does the family man in you feel a bit guilty now, or have you squared that away, or where are you on that?
It's mixed. You know, I think it's also important for the family, the kids, little man, to see that if you're going to be successful and you want to be successful and get to where you want to get to, it doesn't come easy. So I actually think it's quite a good thing for them not to, in the right possible way, not see me around as much, doing not a great deal in between the international.
So you were watching a lot of loose women in your tracksuit bottoms. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly that. So no, I think it is something that I tell the kids. Look, it's not easy being at home once a week, and having that one day off a week in itself is not easy, because you sort of come home and it sort of takes a little while to decompress in a way and just relax and chill. And you come home and you're not ruling the roost anymore, or you're not.
Who's in your seat? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You're well down the pecking order, just below the dog at the minute. So I'm well down the list.
What age are the kids now, Stephen?
14, Isla, and Harry's 12 in a couple of days.
So sorry, I thought they were younger. Okay, look, they don't want to see that much anyway.
No, you're exactly right. It's fortnight and
Sorry, I thought that for some reason I thought they were like maybe a 5 and an 8 or something. That's a bit different. So during that time that I left Palace a few years ago, that was a great time to be around. It's always a great time, but I can sort of look back on that little period and think, you had your break, you sort of enjoyed it for a period, but that in itself can become quite difficult when you've got a load of time on your hands and the mind starts racing again. Sure. What's next, and when you're going to get back in. And so it's fine. The balance is obviously, when you're in football, it's never easy. It's never easy to balance that family and work life, but at the moment it seems to be working okay. You've put in a lot of hours, like, I mean, in terms of your coaching, your 2 years at Reading, 15 to 17, you did a season at Crystal Palace, season at West Brom. Then as of May 2019, Steve Clarke obviously got in touch, and now you're double jobbing again. Like, you have really racked up the hours on the training ground, and then watching videos, and I know doing scouting reports, and the championship treadmill of game after game after game after game. Like, this has been a proper commitment. You are fully committed to this, so this is no longer dipping the toe. I mean, you want to be a manager, main man at a club, I would think, at some stage in the next 5 to 10 years, certainly. Next 5 years, probably. Yeah,
if I look at it, it's 6 years, believe it. It'll be 6 years this summer since I retired from playing, and the experiences that I've had, I'm so thankful and grateful for them as well. It has been tough. Obviously, when you went in at Reading and Steve Clarke got the sack pretty soon, 5-6 months after, and then you're working with different managers. But I've learned so much in that time, working with different managers, gaining the experiences, championship playoff final, another championship playoffs with West Brom, Palace, the season that we had, qualifying for the Euros with Scotland. Now, I'd like to think a reasonable job at another really big club in Nottingham Forest. And it will have to be the right opportunity some way down the line if it does come. There has been one or two, possible situations where a management role could have been a possible, but
what kind of level?
In the football league, in England. So a decent level, but at the same time, when you're in coaching role and you're going to a major tournament with Scotland and you're in a fantastic role, learning every day at a great club and under a great manager, and I'd mentioned to the assistant Paul Trollope as well, still learning every day. It needs to tick every box.
Yes, because you can be written off if you go into the wrong club, wrong situation, do a bad job. It's so brutal right now, then it could quickly be, well, Steven Reid didn't work out first time around, so...
Yeah, and it can be your last.
Yeah, he's done.
It can be, the stats are unbelievable in, first-time managers that get the sack, whether they get another opportunity again. So it does need to be and there's no rush. I speak to so many... No, actually, that's a lie. I don't speak to many in football. I speak to one or two sort of trusted sort of mentors, and, there's no rush, still learning. If you look at Steve Clarke himself, took his first management role at 50. West Brom when I was there. So, if it, I'm sure there might come a moment when it ticks every box and it feels right. But, at the moment, to be heading to a major tournament with Scotland and working day to day at Nottingham Forest is... feel blessed.
Yeah, and that's it, and you think, who's a dynamic duo? You think of like a Mick and Terry Connor. You know what I mean? So Terry Connor's had an unbelievable football career as well. So I might be even wrong saying, oh, well, you have to be a head coach to be anything. I mean... Yeah. But I get the sense from talking to you that you are trying to build to ultimately being the main man. You would like to test yourself that way.
I think so. But it also depends... position and situation. Sure. You might find yourself out of work and an opportunity presents itself, whereas the same opportunity when you're in work might not float your boat. But out of work you might take it. How happy you are, location, where is it? I've done quite a lot of the commuting one when I was living in Manchester and working at Reading. Now I'm working in Nottingham and the family are in the other direction in London. So all of those things, will need to be, well, hopefully at a level. I wouldn't want to step out of a top club and, national team if it didn't suit and it didn't tick all of those boxes. So, yes. At the moment, it's just about learning, looking forward to going to obviously the Euros in the summer and hopefully a decent end to the season with Forest.
Do you know why Chris Hughton called you? Who did he talk to? Where did he pluck your name from?
I don't know who he talked to, but sort of getting to know him now, he would have done his homework. We had chats, not about me joining a staff of his at all, but over the years, if he was maybe thinking about signing a player and he knew that I'd worked with him, he would give me a call and we'd have a chat about that player. So there's obviously a trusted, a trusted person that he could contact about that. But, looking at how he does work, he would have done his homework on obviously myself and spoke to a couple of people. And
that must feel good. Really sure. That must feel good. I mean, certainly a few people have obviously given him the thumbs up. Your name in football, I mean, it's a small world, as you know, and your name needs to be good. So he's obviously asked, and it must be nice to think, well, whoever he's talked to has given me a thumbs up.
No, definitely. And I like to think as well, the managers that I have worked under, they're proper football people as well. If you look at Chris and you look at Steve Clarke and you look at Roy Hodgson, to name, those three, they're serious football managers as well. So, I'm blessed to be and have learned under them and continue to do so. So, Yeah, obviously it does feel nice to be thought of in those terms, and to obviously get that phone call. That's straight away. I had a couple of others in the course of the last year, but something about this one that, I just don't know whether it's just that respect that I've got for Chris, that was the one that really, really floated my boat and made me make that decision.
Yeah. Well, actually, you think of Chris and you think of Hodgson and you think of Steve Clarke. They would all be very respected as decent, even-keeled, good men. They're not. Yeah. They're not getting themselves into bother. As managers, if you had to single out a strength that each of them had, like on the outside, I'd say, well, Roy Hodgson, tactically so well organised, kind of a thing. If you were to just say, if you had to pick one kind of key strength that looms large in your mind about each of them, what would it be?
There's a few that run through the three of them, to be honest. It's organisation. That's obviously when I was playing and worked under Roy and Steve, you didn't quite see it at the time. You just sort of turn up in a way. I used to speak to him on a regular basis, but it's only when you work underneath and on a staff that you see the bits and pieces that go into training sessions and the tactical stuff and the videos and watching the opposition, but all similar in that regard. Roy's just got an aura about him due to his experience in the game and the way he carries himself, his enthusiasm. That's one thing I'd say about Roy. Not that obviously Chris and Steve have both got it as well, but Roy's into his 70s now, and he was still the most enthusiastic person at the training ground about football. There's even little sessions maybe on a Sunday morning when we had a small group, whereas in years gone by you wouldn't maybe see the manager out there on a Sunday, but he'd be out there, he'd be getting involved, he'd get involved in maybe the little bit that you was doing. But I'd love seeing that enthusiasm. I used to say it to some of the players, the managers near on 70 and he shows more enthusiasm than a lot of you. So Steve, organisation. One thing about Steve is you got to do you got some going to get a well done from him. But I used to like that as a player. When I played under him as a player at West Brom, if you got a well done, then you felt on top of the world.
Right.
You got to work hard to get a well done off him, which makes it really mean something. And onto Chris now, he's just an absolute machine at work. The hours that we're doing, he's the first in without fail,
right,
every single morning, and last out of the building. We actually get kicked out by the security on the weekend if we're there after 6:30 at night. We get kicked out. So just I think that goes a long way. The players and the staff see the manager's car in there, 7 a.m. in the morning, and this is setting off, no word of a lie, at 8 p.m. at night.
And what's he doing? Like, do you need to be in there at 7 p.m. at night?
There's always a little bit more that you can watch of the opposition and get prepared. And the way we work it is we kind of rotate some of the opposition stuff, and there's always a little bit more that you could be watching. I actually feel a little bit guilty now if I was to go in the gym for half an hour thinking there's half an hour you could be watching of Huddersfield at the weekend. So that work ethic that runs through all of those three and all of the top managers.
Yeah, they all seem to have it. Steve, come on in. We're watching Huddersfield, the corner routines. No.
We will be.
I'm sure.
Watching the results tonight, what system they've played, who's in and out, who's out, and then we watch the game in full when we get in on Thursday morning and prepare for obviously the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday.
Relentless. Do you think all that really makes a difference? Because I won't name names, but I absolutely know for a fact that some managers at championship level dismiss all of that as like, lads, it's a corner, just get up and try and win it, don't worry about it. If you're a big lad, mark a big lad. And honestly, they would be of the opinion, you as a management team, you could spend you're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday watching all these videos, and actually it doesn't really matter a damn. Obviously, you think it does.
Yeah, you just got to get the players prepared as much as possible. But you might prepare your team through the meetings for them to be setting up 4-3-3, and you get to the game on a Saturday and they're 4-4-2. They might change it the day before, but all you can do is prepare them as best as possible. But then you might have your markers, and on a Saturday it's a great delivery. The marker you've put on to, mark their number 9, loses him, gets blocked and scores. All you can do is prepare them. You can show them the movements of the players they're marking, but ultimately they've just got to want to go and get their head on the ball and just be a little bit cute and not getting blocked and recognising a corner routine. So it is a lot. There's a lot that goes into it now. I can't really, when I was playing, especially at the start, I can't really remember any team meetings or, it was almost a case of when you came on as sub, you say to the player, who is you marking? They say the number 9.
Duncan Ferguson.
Go. You just go and mark him. I don't remember all the little details that we get now, but the game's completely changed.
Czech Republic, June 14th at Hampden. England, June 18th, Wembley. Croatia, June 22nd, Hampden. I mean, that's big time.
Amazing. And the actual qualification, I probably liken it to the penalty save from Marshy. I probably liken it to a little bit Robbie Keane's equaliser in 2002 against Germany. Like a single moment in football that just the pure emotion of it was unbelievable. There wasn't really a build-up to you winning the game and going through. It was just a single spot kick, great save by Marshy, and the highs and lows of that game was unbelievable. great performance against Serbia in the actual game itself. It was a great performance, and then to the sucker punch of the header last minute Jovic was horrible. Was horrible, and then to come back from that and to win on penalties was amazing, and a moment that I'm consciously trying to enjoy now instead of letting it pass me by like most of the best moments in my career as a player. Just pass you by. These moments that come along now, I'm just trying to just stay in it, enjoy it, watch the bits back after, like I now and again do, watch the penalty shootout again just to relive them moments. But yeah, for it to land this year, 2 games at Hampden, England at Wembley, it couldn't have fallen any better than that.
No, it almost makes you think it was fixed. You can't say that, I can.
It could have been Republic in the group as well. That would have really kind of topped it off.
When we last spoke, you said a very interesting thing, that you were doing a counselling and psychology qualification with the PFA. Did you continue that? Have you completed that? Where's that at the moment?
I actually finished the first one, so that was the level 2. I was due to go on to the level 3, but then got a certain phone call from Mr. Houghton, so that went on the back burner. But it's something that I'm still, I've got a little WhatsApp group with all the guys that took part in it, and 1 or 2 of them opportunities have come up as well to take different roles that can go on it. But a lot of them are still continuing, and it's something that I want to definitely continue and pursue longer term, whether that's sort of staying in football or after football. I've just always had an interest in that side of the game, the sports psychology that I've used throughout my football career to try and get those, the negativity and the self-doubt, those self-belief issues from playing, the people that I used to speak to. It's just something that is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And is it every bit as much a thing with the current generation? They're not for some reason magically more confident or without doubts, and social media is obviously there as well, which I'm sure doesn't help. Are you seeing some of the same trends? Too much worry, not enjoying the big moments, all of that stuff? Is it still the same for the 22-year-olds there now, or are they in any way different to you in your day?
I think it's more difficult now. I
Right.
think it's harder for them now with the social media that, you know, the vast majority of people are on. You know, the easy access for anybody to just direct message or, you know, write a message on a Instagram picture or tweet, is the replies and the abuse that we're seeing. It almost seems like it's every single televised game now.
Yes, it is.
We're reading the day after there's some kind of abuse towards a player.
Yes, and the racist element looms large as well.
Yeah, which is so I think it's become worse. I think how can it not be in a way when, you know, especially for the younger players, I think.
And they do look at it, Stephen, do they? They don't have their agent managing that stuff for them.
I don't actually know on the whole. I'd imagine at a lower level, I'd imagine it would only be the, you know, the high, the top level, the ones that have got entourages around them that deal with their social medias. I think in general it'll be, especially the younger players.
Well, I'd look. I mean, if I was 20, I'd be looking.
Yeah, and I had a bad habit of when I played, not that it was social media. Towards the back end, it was a little bit, but it was, you know, I used to dwell on the one negative, you know, moment of a game. If I had 9 good moments and 1 or 2 bad, for some reason, me being me and how I thought at that time, I'd just dwell on the negative side. And that was without looking at a phone and seeing 10 to 20 negative comments or some abuse. So I think it's a real issue now. And I think the issue, I think players are going to need more and more help as things grow and things go in that direction.
I suspect you're right. It's a weird one, that point you make about 9 good things and you focus on the one bad thing, because I can see why it's really not a nice place to be in your head then for a couple of days after a game, and I can see how it can affect your confidence and general well-being and all of that stuff. On the other hand, it's probably part of what got you to the heights of the game, you know?
Yeah, I think that. I think, despite a lot of the time being my own worst enemy, I think at times it worked in my favour in terms of having that attitude of never giving, you know, I had 10 surgeries, you know, that attitude of never giving up and never giving in to, you know, any of that negativity or, you know, a surgery that might be career ending. I just had the mindset of just not getting beaten by it and going again and going again. It does wear you down. You know, towards the back end of my career, there wasn't too much enjoyment from it. I've got to be honest, in that last couple of years of, you know, some weeks I'd train 1 day in the week. I'd get the knee drained once a week. It was a surgery. It was more injections. It was a calf strain. It was a small hamstring strain. They all slowly by surely, they took their toll.
Yes.
But that mindset that used to sort of beat me up a little bit, I think also massively helped me in extending my career up until 34 years old.
Yeah. Jeez, you weren't odds on to make 34, I got to say. When you were 28, I wasn't betting on that one.
There was a point where I had in my mind, get to 30.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So it was get to 30, then I was off, you know, then it'd be another year. Then I would sit down with the family. I remember once or twice it was sort of tears, I've had enough, and I'd call it a day, and then one more after a couple of weeks, go on then one more. It's just that mind working, like go again for another year and then
push yourself.
Keep pushing.
Well, listen, it's always great to catch up with you. One of the real gents of the game, and especially given how hard you're working. I mean, these are valuable free hours that you have. So we will leave you alone.
Can I have a couple of beers now, Joe?
You can. Feed up, watch the last 20 minutes of this game over in Paris, and then get into the Huddersfield corner routine and whatever else.
I might watch a bit of Huddersfield first.
Stephen, keep up the good stuff. We might nag you, maybe try and grab you for a couple of minutes ahead of the Euros, but in the meantime, have a great season.
Brilliant. Cheers, Joe.
All right, man. Take care. Bye-bye. Steven Reid there. Always great to have him on. Former Republic of Ireland international, of course. Now working with Chris Hughton at Nottingham Forest, and very much looking forward to the Euros with Steve Clarke coming up. Again, they have Czech Republic, June 14th at Hampden. They have England on June 18th at Wembley, and then Croatia June 22nd, Hampden. So that will be something to look forward to say the least. Latest in Paris, it's PSG 0, Bayern 1. I think Neymar has put the ball in the Bayern net, but they're checking it, so it could be an offside there. He generally has been flirting with the offside line all night, as you might imagine. It's been disallowed. So it's still Bayern 1, PSG 0. This now gets tricky for PSG. They now concede and it's all over. So tense last 12 minutes there, and still 0-0 between Chelsea and Porto.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. Ready for your next big move? The trip from the fridge to the couch. Gamble responsibly. GamblingCare.ie.
News Talk Breakfast.
You know, me speaking as a healthcare professional as well as a politician, you know, I'd have no hesitation recommending the AstraZeneca vaccine to people over 60 because the risk of getting this very rare blood clotting disorder, which is probably treatable, is minuscule compared to the risk of getting COVID and getting very sick or dying from that. So, you know, the balance of risk is much more in favour of accepting the vaccine than refusing it, and that's the case with almost any medicine.
Would you take it yourself?
I would, yeah, absolutely.
News Talk Breakfast with Ciara Kelly and Shane Coleman.
In association with AIR.
Weekday mornings at 7 on News Talk.
Born from our expertise in Formula One, Renault E-Tech technology now features in our range of everyday hybrid and electric cars. Discover the #1 selling electric vehicle range in Ireland with finance from 0% APR, €1,000 green bonus and 3 months deferred payments. See why we are the #1 electric vehicle manufacturer in Ireland. Visit your local Renault dealer today. Offers made under a hire purchase agreement. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. See Renault.ie.
Today, you can alleviate stress on your company finances and stress on the electricity grid by participating in demand response with NLX. By adjusting your energy usage for just a few hours per year, your business could receive a welcome revenue boost. And we could all benefit from a more sustainable future. With NLX, the power really is in your hands. To find out more, visit demandresponse.ie.
Guaranteed Irish business members are working hard to support jobs, communities and help our economy recover and prosper beyond COVID and Brexit.
Who would have thought from humble beginnings in a West Cork butcher shop in the 1880s that Clonakilty Food Company will be exporting their black pudding, white pudding, sausages and rashers around the world today? Supporting 50 jobs in Clonakilty, West Cork, Clonakilty Food Company, a local family business, has made sure that their products are available to families at home and abroad during these challenging times. Let's start our recovery with GuaranteedIrish.ie. Altogether better.
At Harvey Norman, we know the kitchen is the heart of your home. And that's why we're here to help you find the perfect cooking appliances. Like the Whirlpool 4-zone induction hob, just $399. Or the Whirlpool W7 Collection single oven, just $699. And get a set of Berghoff premium pots worth €349 free with selected Whirlpool cooking appliances. Shop online at harveynorman.ie or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, your cooking specialists.
Go!
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. Only the cream of the crop pick up Champions League medals. Jonathan Greening's got one. Gamble responsibly. GamblingCare.ie.
Welcome back. So 2-0 to Shamrock Rovers away to Derry City. That is a full time for you. Chelsea, you would think safely through against Porto, although still 0-0 on the night. The real drama increasingly is over in Paris, where one Bayern Munich goal now in the last 10 minutes will be very tricky for PSG to overcome. They lead by a goal to 0 Bayern. PSG have had so many chances this evening, but increasingly Bayern are having plenty of chances of their own. So 2-0 for Bayern gets it done. Goal for PSG probably puts this to bed, and it's a little bit end-to-end as things stand. So very interesting last 10 minutes there. We're looking for another miracle tomorrow evening, potentially. Liverpool against Real Madrid, 3-1 down. Very happy to say the Athletics' Caoimhe O'Neill joins us, also does work with the Liverpool Echo. Caoimhe, great to have you with us.
Hi, are you okay?
Yeah, very well. Been a quiet season for you on Merseyside, not much happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's been up and down, hasn't it? A bit of a crazy one. Not as fans would have expected the defence of the title to go, but obviously, you know, still in the Champions League quarterfinals. So, you know, fingers crossed for a big night at an empty Anfield. Yes, empty is almost the key word in that sentence, isn't it? You'd give them so much more of a chance if it wasn't so empty. Yeah, I mean, you know, I was there for the Barcelona game and the Dortmund game before that. You know, in the Europa League. And those nights and moments, that they live with you forever. They're just special. There's something, the ground almost shakes. I think it definitely shook Barcelona that night. To not have that, is a massive, massive blow for Liverpool. But Jurgen Klopp has said the team are going to try and, emulate that atmosphere on the pitch. So, I think the, fans will be trying their best to sort of will them on through the TV screens and in beer gardens probably as well.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. We're looking on enviously.
Sorry about that. Shouldn't have mentioned it.
Oh, it's all right.
I haven't been myself yet, so don't be worrying there.
Okay. Yes, maybe there's some Uri Geller way of channeling all the fans. I don't know. You mentioned Barcelona. What always pops into my head with that game is Trent's corner, Trent Alexander-Arnold's brilliant corner. It was kind of then you realise, God, this kid is special. He's got so much about him, the quick thinking to match all the technical ability. What an unbelievable last 9 days for him. Kicked off on Monday Night Football and then Madrid, and so much scrutiny from like Ashley Cole showing him how to move his feet, to Jamie Carragher, to just being talked about non-stop, and then scores the goal obviously at the weekend. What kind of character is Alexander-Arnold, Caoimhe? Will he be feeling all this and aware of all this, or in a position to somehow block it out in so much as anyone could?
Yeah, I think he's got great people around him. His family, he's pretty close to them. I know how close he is with some of his teammates, Andy Robertson. They've got their own little video thing on Instagram together. They're really close. There'll be people keeping him on the ground, keeping him away from all that chatter that's just circling around him, because it has become a bit of a sort of media circus almost, hasn't it, around him? And I think he'll just be focusing on his football. He's that kind of player now. Whatever he does from now till the Euro squad is selected, there's a microscopic lens on every kick of the ball he has. But from the performance against Arsenal and to go into Real Madrid, where he did make costly errors, and then to sort of make amends a little bit, put in a good performance against Villa. His goal was just, outstanding. If you've seen the screen grab of all the players, and somehow he managed to get it in from there, it was a superb finish. And that's what he's got in his locker. He's got that quick thinking to get the corner across. We know he's an assist king in his own right. He's got all these qualities. This season's been a lot more difficult for him. It's been well documented that he had COVID to start the season, and then obviously the injuries Liverpool have had has impinged on squad rotation, and I think he hasn't quite had that cover there that he has with Gomez and even Matip, and obviously Van Dijk as well, who's a massive loss to Liverpool. But I think he's the type of person I think that will deal with this quite well. He posted on social media after this goal against Aston Villa to say, "Are you not entertained?" which I thought was kind of nice to play into it. He knows people are talking about him, and now he's just got to keep them talking about him in a positive way.
Well, it's been over the top. I know Carragher and Neville set the agenda, and so everybody talks about what they talk about, and it was a really good chat as well. And then it's unfortunate that Madrid happens the day after, but it's just been non-stop. And yourself, the media is always thinking, well, what can we talk about today? Papers to be filled, airtime to be filled here. And Liverpool and their woes have been talked about so much. We don't really need to point out Van Dijk is injured anymore. It's a bad season anymore. So it's just been like this feeding frenzy for the last 8-9 days, because it's just a new angle. It's something fresh. And you come on and I'm thinking to myself, so I'm guilty of it, by the way. I'm not washing my hands of it. But I'm like, I must ask Caoimhe what she thinks of Trent. You know what I mean? But it's over the top.
No, to be honest, I hold my hands up. I've had a piece published this afternoon on The Athletic, which is on Alexander-Arnold. As well as a piece on comebacks this morning, which I'm sure Liverpool fans will hopefully find some inspiration from. But, that piece looks at how, defensively he does rank in the top 10 for fullbacks in the Premier League in terms of true tackles and, his tackle rate. Players, I think the dribble pass rate has gone right down. He doesn't hardly get dribble passed as much as he did last season. His stats are defensively, when you look at them, massively improving, but he makes one mistake and then it becomes this massive thing, because everyone's talking about him at the minute, and I don't think that's probably good for him. But the stats are there, and I think as well, Liverpool do play the high line, and they haven't been quite pressing with the same intensity in the midfield, and I think that's been costly for them. But not only that, a lot of the times when you look back, I took a look back at performances over the course of the season in the piece, and I point out the 1-1 draw against Manchester City away at the Etihad in November. And, Jota was getting back, Firmino was getting back, Salah was getting back at times when Trent was further forward or just to help him out. It doesn't seem like that's happening as much. Henderson was always there. A lot of the clips I've watched, obviously Henderson's out injured. So these things, I think, aren't helping him. But it is odd as well when you think, Andy Robertson's over the other side and no one seems to ever talk about him in this kind of way. But obviously, Trent's, he plays for England, even though obviously Robertson's the proud captain of Scotland. It just seems that there's just a different conversation around him at the minute. But I think, it is one he's dealing well with, other than, what happened in Madrid last week. I'm sure he'll be, he put it right a little bit at the weekend, but he'll be wanting to get Liverpool through to the semi-finals, especially with, as you mentioned there, that, Chelsea are probably going through. And I think, Liverpool fans would be eyeing up a great semi-final against them. But what a big job they've got to accomplish tomorrow. And, if they're able to do that, that'll go down in the club's history as one of the most famous nights ever. But of course, it's with no fans, so it's quite bizarre. It's
really hard not to see Madrid scoring 1, in which case it's near impossible to imagine Liverpool scoring 4. It's so hard to see tomorrow. But on their remaining fixtures, so top 4 is within touching distance. They're 3 points away from West Ham. They have Leeds, they have Newcastle, they have Manchester United away on May 1st, which is their toughest fixture. Then they have Southampton, West Brom, Burnley, Crystal Palace. That's reasonably generous. They won't mind the look of that. What is your sense, Caoimhe, of where they are? Like, there've been a few false dawns. Is something brewing here and they're coming back into a bit of form, or are you still as unsure as ever as to what they're going to bring on a given Saturday or Sunday?
I think you got it spot on there. There has been sort of false dawns, and I think the Arsenal game was probably the worst one Liverpool have encountered this season because it was such an assured performance. They were just passing the ball, threading it through. They looked so confident, and obviously I think that gave them confidence going to Madrid, which has been a happy city for Liverpool fans not too long ago. And I think maybe there was that sort of hope and feeling that the Arsenal game would kind of, kickstart the season in a way. They got some good results before the international break as well. And, they're on a run of wins now in the Premier League, which feels like such a long time ago it happened. Obviously, they've ended that 6 game in a row defeat at Anfield against Villa. So, it's kind of up and down, topsy-turvy. I think, going into next season, to whatever happens tomorrow night, they'll be looking to finish top 4, I think, anyway, because Liverpool, that's you can't win the Premier League last season, and we know the injuries have been well chatted about. We don't need to do that, but for Liverpool to be defending champions and for it to have ended maybe outside the top 4, I think that's not good enough, is it? Even with all the mitigating circumstances.
No, probably not. Team news will be interesting tomorrow, so I suspect Naby Keita doesn't manage to overcome what happened last Tuesday. What about the front 3? That's the kind of interesting one.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. I mean, Diogo Jota, I think, is a fantastic player. He's been Liverpool's signing of the season. He's been a breath of fresh air. With him missing all those months out through injury was, I think, a massive sort of blow to Liverpool as well. But it's an interesting one because going to Madrid, after the Arsenal game, I felt like he'd come off the bench. He got 2 goals, and I was thinking, whether Klopp might be tempted to keep him on the bench. You don't want him to be a super sub per se, but you want him to have that impact that he had there. And obviously, he started the game, and Liverpool's struggles were there for all to see. So I wonder whether, Klopp might be tempted, even though Liverpool need goals, whether, he sort of keeps Jota in his pocket for maybe the second half to try and change things. But although, you think he might just want all of his attackers on and hope that it does sort of work out in the way, Liverpool can be just, so deadly in attack. But, I think Firmino is such an important player, and, nights like this, I think he'll help sort of stick the ball to him, and the Salah and Mane will continue to feed off him as they have.
And how off the boil is Firmino for you? You're watching him very closely week in, week out. Where is he?
I think, he has had a difficult season, and, people will look at his numbers and question those. Maybe, that conversation's always been there about maybe should score more goals. But I think, you know, the job he does when you actually watch him is, like I mentioned there, the ball seems to glue to his feet, and then people make runs. He makes runs for other players. You know, Salah and Mane get a hell of a lot of goals, and a lot of them are down to the work of Roberto Firmino. So, you know, I think he's a massive important player to Liverpool, and, you know, maybe his form has dropped off, but I think it's been a sort of collective drop-off, so it'd be hard to sort of pinpoint any sort of one player. I think that's why, you know, we're sort of seeing the conversation around Trent Alexander-Arnold, but, you know, it's a whole team playing the game, and I think, you know, Firmino's an important player on nights like that, and he has stepped up in the past, so hopefully, you know, he can do it again tomorrow night.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Thanks so much for missing the last 10 minutes of the PSG game, by the way. Appreciate it. You can read Caoimhe's work in The Athletic. Caoimhe O'Neill, thanks so much.
All right, take care.
Cheers. Latest in the PSG game is 1-0 to Bayern. Honestly, chances both ends. I mean, both sides on the brink here in some ways. PSG have had a couple of unbelievably good chances, and equally Bayern have gone close. Now there are literally seconds left. It's just gone full time. So camera cuts to Neymar, and fist bumps and screams and relief, I think. So Bayern win 1-0 is our full-time score. PSG go through to the semi-final. Presume no drama in the Chelsea-Porto game. No, still 0-0 there. So Chelsea through to the semi-finals as well. The football show on Off the Ball is with thanks to Paddy Power. For information on responsible gambling, visit gamblingcare.ie.
Football on Off the Ball
with Paddy Power. Fake crowd noise? The Emirates never sounded so good. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
If you have a TV, you must have a TV licence. It's the law. Make your payments easy with yearly, twice yearly, quarterly or monthly direct debits. See tvlicence.ie for more. Your TV licence made easier. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Boyle Sports now has dozens of new player markets on the Boyle Sports app, powered by Opta. Fancy that informed striker? Markets now available on shots, left foot, right foot and headed goals. Or how about total passes, tackles, assists? They're all available on every match. Boyle Sports. This is betting. Gamble responsibly. See gamblingcare.ie 18+.
At Harvey Norman, we know the kitchen is the heart of your home. And that's why we're here to help you find the perfect cooking appliances. Like the Whirlpool 4-zone induction hob, just $399. Or the Whirlpool W7 Collection single oven, just $699. And get a set of Berghoff premium pots worth €349 free with selected Whirlpool cooking appliances. Shop online at harveynorman.ie or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, your cooking specialists.
Go! You wouldn't buy a car without knowing its history. So why would you buy a story without knowing who's telling it? Come here and I tell you. It's not always easy to verify what you see, read or hear. But now there's help. Visit www.bemediasmart.ie. Stop, think, check. Be Media Smart. Brought to you by Media Literacy Ireland.
Proudly supported by News Talk.
So you've been planning, thinking, wishing, dreaming, imagining, hoping, hankering and craving. After all that, isn't it time to actually get it done? Right now, Avant Money offers Ireland's lowest rates on personal loans over €20,000. So go on, see how much you can get done at avantmoney.ie.
Lending criteria, T's and C's apply. New applications only. Info correct 29th March 2021. Source ccbc.ie. Avant Card DAC trading as Avant Money is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Football on Off the Ball
with Paddy Power. Champions League nights on Off the Ball. Bigger than Zlatan's ego. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Okay, so full times in the Champions League. PSG and Chelsea are through to the semi-finals. That is pretty much us done this evening. Shamrock Rovers 2-0 winners against Derry, if you missed that earlier on. Graham Burke with the goal of the night from the halfway line. Congratulations to Wayne Gillen. Correctly said Stephen Larkham was the former Aussie at half, now coaching at Munster. Wayne, you've won 4 tickets to the Leaders Lounge event on April 22nd. leadersloungelive.com if you want more information on that. OTB AM coming at you tomorrow. Graham Souness will be on ahead of the Liverpool game. Bernard Flynn should be very good, talking about his episode of Lake Regale. Team Ireland athletes Sarah Lavin and Oliver Dingley as well, plus Owen Conroy and Paul McGinley talking about the Leaders' Lounge. And then tomorrow night we have Wednesday Night Rugby with Andy Dunn. Always great to have Andy on. Keith Wood as well. And then Dan McDonnell on the Football Show and a few more bits and pieces besides, I'm sure. Tom Dunn on the way next. Good luck.